Hello. Next we see the interference and the system capacity. So interference means what? The interference is a major factor which degrades the performance of the cellular system. If this interference is produced on voice channel, then crosstalk will be occur, or subscriber may be hear different sounds at the background. Means the interference occurs onto the different radio channels, and the radio channels will may be voice channels and the control channels. If this interference is occurs onto the voice channel, then subscriber may be hear at different sounds at the background. And if this interference occurs on the control channels, then it affects onto the call initialize and call request. Due to this, call drop will be occur. In the cellular system basically consists of two different types of the interference. Co-channel interference and the adjacent channel interference. First is the co-channel interference. Frequency reuse concept implies that in a given coverage area there are several cells that use the same set of frequency. These cells are called as a co-channel cells, and the interference between signals from these cells it is called as the co-channel interference. Means in frequency reuse concepts implies that in a given coverage area there are the several cells use the same set of frequency, and these type of cells it is called as a co-channel cells, and the interference between the co-channel cells it is called as a co-channel interference. We cannot reduce the co-channel interference by simply increasing the transmitter power for each cell. In fact, the transmitter power will increase as the co-channel interference increases. Means this co-channel interference we cannot reduce by increasing the transmitter power. In fact, we increase the transmitter power then increase the co-channel interference. The co-channel interference can be reduced by separating the co-channel cells physically by a minimum distance. Co-channel cells are separated by a minimum distance, then the co-channel interference is reduced. A co-channel interference is totally independent of same size of cell and same transmitting power. A parameter Q is called as co-channel ratio, and it is related to the D divided by R. D divided by R ratio and the cluster size N. So Q is equal to D divided by R, or Q is equal to root 3N. In that, Q is equal to co-channel reuse ratio, D is equal to distance between two co-channel cells, R is radius of cell, and N is cluster of size. By increasing the ratio D by R, the separation between the co-channel cell relative to the coverage distance of the cell is increased. Thus, interference is reduced. Means distance between the two different cells or two co-channel cells is increases, then the co-channel interference is decreases. If the value of Q is small, then N will be small and system capacity is large. Means Q is small, then N will be small and system capacity is large. And if Q is large, then N will be large and system capacity will be low. A large value of Q will reduce the co-channel interference. Means Q value is very large, then the co-channel interference is reduced. The selection of Q is based on two different factors. that is system capacity and the co-channel interference. This is all about the co-channel interference. So remember the important points. Co-channel interference. The frequency reuse concept implies that the given coverage area, several cells use the same set of frequency. These cells it is called as the co-channels, and the interference between these signals it is called as a co-channel interference. These interference we cannot reduce by increasing the transmitter power, but we can reduce these interference by using the separating the co-channel cells physically at a minimum distance. Q is the parameter, it is called as a co-channel ratio. It is equal to D divided by R, or is equal to root 3 by N. D means the distance between the two co-channel cells, Q means the co-channel reuse ratio, and R is the radius of the cell. N is cluster size. So the ratio of D by R is increases, then the separation distance between the co-channel cells is also increases, means interference is reduced. If the value of Q is small, then N will be small and system capacity is large. And Q is large, N is large, and system capacity is low. Large value of Q will reduce the co-channel interference. Next is the adjacent channel interference. The interference resulting from signal which are adjacent or close frequency to the desired signal, it is called as a adjacent channel interference. Means the interference which are adjacent or close frequency to the desired signal, it is called as a adjacent channel interference. Such type of interference is occurs due to improper design of the receiver filter. The interference will be serious if an adjacent channel user is transmitting from a very close distance to the subscriber receiver. This is called as the near-far effect, in which a nearby strong transmitter captures the subscriber receiver. Because of this adjacent channel interference, adjacent channel user is transmitted very close distance to the subscriber receivers. So because of that, near far problem or near far effect it occurs, in that strong transmitter captures the subscriber receiver, means strong signals only captures the receiver signal. The adjacent channel interference can be reduced by using two different ways, in that careful filtering and the careful channel assignment. The adjacent channel interference can be minimized by using high cavity filters at receiver with the sharp cutoff frequency. There is appropriate addition of a guard band in nearest channel, means guard band signal it is useful separations of the frequency signals to avoid the adjacent channel interference. By keeping frequency separation of each channel in a cell as large as possible. This is the adjacent channel interference. So remember the points of the adjacent channel interference are: it is an interference which are adjacent or close frequency to the desired signal, it is called as a adjacent channel interference. This type of interference occurs because of the improper selection of the filter. This adjacent channel interference creates a near far problem, means strong transmitter captures the receiver signal. The adjacent channel interference can be reduced by using two ways, means careful filtering and the careful channel assignment. In the careful filtering, we use the high cavity filters with the sharp cutoff frequency. And there is an appropriate addition of a guard band in nearest channels. By keeping frequency separation of each channel in a cell as large as possible. This is the adjacent channel interference. Next is the channel planning for wireless system. The process of assigning the radio channels to each base station in a cellular system is very important. The wireless engineers will have to deal with some practical problems such as difficulties associated with the radio propagation and imperfect coverage region of each cell. Generally, the available mobile radio spectrum is divided into control channels and the voice channels. Means the communication is possible with the help of two different channels like control channels and the voice channels. Control channels, it is useful for the initiating, requesting or paging a call. Means initiating call we uses the control channels, and voice channels, it is useful to carry the data messages. Out of the entire spectrum, only 5% is allotted to control channels and the remaining 95% is allotted to the voice channels. Means the communication system uses the two channels, and in that 5% it is allotted for the control channels and 95% uses the voice channels. Any suitable frequency reuse scheme can be chosen. The frequency reuse strategy applied to the control channels is generally different than that the applied to the voice channel. Means the frequency reuse scheme is different for the both different radio channels. Next point is power control for reducing interferences. In the practical cellular radio system, the power transmitted by each and every handset is under constant control by the base station to which is connected. Each handset transmits the smallest power that is necessary to maintain a good quality of reception. Such power control has two advantages. It increases the battery life of the handset and it reduces the interferences. So power control, it is useful for the two major advantages or two major purposes. It increases the battery life of the handset and it reduces the interferences. There are the two different types of the power control systems. First is the open loop power control and second is the closed loop power control. First is the open loop power control. In this method, a user or subscriber measures and monitors power level and adjusts the power level accordingly. In this method, no feedback is taken from the base station, so the system is less accurate. In open loop power control, user or subscriber measures, monitors the power level and adjusts power level accordingly. And in this method, there is no feedback from the base station, so it is the less accurate system. Next is the closed loop power control system. In this system, the base station makes a power adjustment decision and informs to mobile station to adjust the power level. Means in that, base station takes the decision about the power adjustment, and this decision and this information it is passes to the mobile station and adjusts the power level. In this system, uses the both forward and reverse control channels due to feedback, so it is more accurate. Next is improving coverage and capacity in cellular system. For the improving coverage and capacity of the cellular system purpose, three different techniques we use. First is the cell splitting, next is the sectoring, next is the microzone concept. First system is cell splitting. Cell splitting is a process of subdividing congested cell into small cells. each with its own base station and a corresponding reduction in antenna height and transmitter power. Cell splitting means it is a process of subdividing the congested cell into the smaller cells. It has own base station and corresponding the reduction in antenna height of the transmitter power. The cell splitting achieve the capacity improvement by essentially rescaling the cellular system. Cell splitting increases the capacity of a system because it increases the number of times that channels are reused. Means in cell splitting systems, original cell is divided into the multiple smaller cells. So it increases the capacity. In cell splitting, original cell is split into smaller cells and the new cell radius is half of the original cell. In this, the cell boundaries need to be revised so that the local area which was earlier considered as a single cell can now contain number of smaller cells. These new cells are called as a microcells. Because of the cell splitting, the original cell consists with the multiple cells. So cell boundaries are revised. And these cells are called as a microcells. In cell splitting, two different types of splittings are uses. First is the permanent splitting and second is the dynamic splitting. In permanent splitting, cell splitting permanently irrespective of traffic load. And in dynamic splitting, cell splitting according to traffic load. After creating microcell, the transmitted power and antenna heights of the new base station are reduced accordingly. The same set of frequency is used again as per the new plan. Disadvantages of the cell splitting system is more handoffs are required per cell, higher processing load of per subscriber. This is all about the cell splitting. Next is the cell sectoring. In previous technique of the cell splitting, the system capacity is improved by decreasing the radius of the cell. Means cell splitting technique, we reduce the radius of the cell and creates a new cells, and new cell it is called as a microcell. By using this technique, we increases the capacity. In the cell sectoring, signal interference ratio is improved by replacing single omnidirectional antenna by several sectored antenna. The capacity is improved by number of cell reduced in the cluster. There are two types of the sectoring are shown in the figure. First is the 120 degree sectoring and second is the 60 degree sectoring. In the 120 degree sectoring, a cell is broken into 3 sectors with each sector of 120 degree, whereas in 60 degree sectoring, a cell is divided into 6 sectors and each sector it is 60 degree sector. Advantages of the cell sectoring systems: improvement in signal to interference ratio, increases the system capacity and reduces the interference. Disadvantages of the cell sectoring systems: we have to use a large number of directional antennas at each base station. The coverage area is reduced due to sectoring, therefore the number of handoffs will increases. This is the cell sectoring method. Next is the repeater. A wireless communication needs to provide a service to dedicated areas such as valley or tunnel. The coverage for each areas can be provided by using radio transmitters called as repeaters, which can provide the extension of range. Means repeater, it is useful for the range extension purpose, and repeaters are used for valley or tunnel. Repeaters are bidirectional in nature, which transmits or receives the signal from surveying base station. When a repeater receives a signal from a base station, it amplifies the received signal and re-radiates the amplified signal to its coverage area. Means repeater receives the input signal from the base station and re-radiates this amplified signal to its coverage area. But sometimes they can receive the noise, and this noise can be re-radiated and amplified by the repeater. Hence the repeater should be placed in proper place. This is the repeater. Next is the microcell zone concept. In the cell sectoring technique, it increases the number of handoff or handover requests so that load on internal links as well as the switching load on the mobile switching center is increases. In this technique, the cell is divided into 3 different zones with transceiver antenna. These zones are connected to same base station using coaxial cable, fiber optic cable or a microwave links. Means microcell zone concept, it is useful because in previous cell sectoring techniques, number of handoffs are increases. So microcell zone concept is useful. In this technique, cell is divided into 3 different zones. These zones are connected to the same base station by using the microwave link, coaxial cable, fiber optic cable or microwave links. As mobile traveling within a cell, it is served by strongest signal. For this, antennas are placed at outer edge of the cell. Means antenna is placed at outer edge of the cell. As mobile travels from one zone to other zone within a cell, it uses the same channels. This will avoid the handoff. Means mobile travels from one zone to other zone, so it uses the same channels, so handoff requests are avoided. Thus, a given channel is being used only in particular zone in which the mobile is traveling. So the base station radiates its power and reduces the interferences. The microwave concept is very useful along highways or in the busy urban areas. This is the microcell zone concept. Advantages of this system is reduced co-channel interference, improved signal quality, increases system capacity. Applications of the microcell zone concepts is zone cell architecture are adopted in many cellular and personal communication systems. Next is the umbrella cell concept. High-speed moving vehicles cross the active cell area of a cell within few seconds. Then the requirement of handoff is very frequent. Means the high-speed moving vehicles moves from one cell to another cell within few seconds. So the handoff is very frequent. When handoff increases constantly under on mobile switching center, then particular MSC quickly become burdened. On the other side, the slow moving users do not cross any active area, so there is no need of handoff. The capacity of the cellular system can be increased by using additional cell sites, but it is practically difficult. Thus, instead of new cell sites, additional channels and base stations can be installed to increase the capacity. Different antenna heights and different power levels can be used to provide small and large cells located at single site. This technique is known as umbrella cell approach. means different antenna heights and the different power levels can be used to provide the small and large cells located on a single site. This technique is known as a umbrella cell approach. This approach is used to provide large area coverage for high-speed users while small area coverage to low-speed users. The speed of each user is estimated by base station. If high-speed users in the large umbrella cells approaching the base station may decide to handle the user into co-channel microcell without the permission of MSC. This approach is basically used to reduce the number of handoffs for high-speed users.